Hi, in today's masterclass session, we'll be continuing our practical learning from the last session where we started talking about AI agents. In today's session, we'll be focusing mainly on how to use ChatGPT and its features to get our productivity improved, whether we're working with projects and what scenarios, we're working with agents and how we can develop agents. So I'll be showing you from the beginners to the advanced level on how you can utilize ChatGPT for your personal and professional goals. To begin our session, we respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today and recognize their continuing connection to land, water, and community. We pay our respects to elders, past, present, and emerging, and extend that respect to all Indigenous people. Today's learning journey is mainly focused on getting a good understanding of ChatGPT fundamentals, its platform, modes, settings, and personalization, to follow up with projects, how we can actually create and manage the workflows using the projects. Will be giving you some sample projects and I'll be demonstrating in front of you how you can actually generate and some of the critical areas we need to focus when you are creating and managing your projects. Building GPT agents and how you can actually create one for yourself and how you can keep on training that. Some of the real world examples and some best practices to wrap up the session with. To start with, let's talk about what exactly is ChatGPT. Of course, we all look ChatGPT in different ways, but one of the main thing is very common. We are using ChatGPT as our conversational assistant, whether voice or written, processing natural language requests. It does uh, allow us to expect human like responses and of course learning from the context in the conversation. So we are training this particular platform with our work practices in whatever we do. The three main core modes of ChatGPT, of course, are chat, like conversations that we do on the regular basis, whether temporary or permanent chats, projects to create our organized workspaces, and agents to definitely automate some of the workflows. So we'll be looking how we can actually organize that into practice. One of the most important things we need to remember when we are working with any of the platforms like ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, Claude, or any other different platforms, we need to remember its settings and personalization plays a very important role. Defining the role, tone, the communication style, the context, of course, the format of the output that we are expecting, and specific language of the industry that we are in. Some of the tips we need to make to get the best outputs is to be specific about your goals, what you are expecting, include the examples of the outputs, and of course, setting clear boundaries, whether it comes under the ethical restrictions or limitations or ethical practices within the organization. To give you a very, very important tip in the very beginning, when you are actually trying to learn these platforms, one of the most important thing is to not to reveal any of your personal information. That also includes your organization's emails, your personal emails that has all the personal information and the conversation, also linked with your Google Drives or OneDrives. So avoid any kind of personal data breach, and that can be done in many different ways. One of the way is to make sure that you create one sample email, one email specifically dedicated to learn different platforms, which only has your basic information with probably your name that you need to so create a fake sort of, dummy email, not even fake, I'm saying dummy email, which is simply used for learning the platforms, and you can practice, you can give that particular platform without any credit card or any other information. So that will allow you to pretty much limit the data that you are sharing with that particular platform. Second way is to restrict the type of conversation that you're doing some of the conversations in the temporary chat mode, private mode, or incognito mode, so it doesn't really save all the type of conversation, but also avoid uploading any sensitive or confidential data. You can use dummy data similar to what your actual type of data you're using. So this avoids a little bit of data breaches, confidentiality. But see, remember, every single information that you're going to be using, or you'll be inserting in these platforms, there's at least 0.001 possibility that's going to stay there forever, because these are online platforms, so you have to be very careful and be cautious on what you are sharing, and unless, once again, it is allowed within the organization what kind of information you can share. Okay, so we all have to take cautious steps and using these platforms, also on the personal and professional level. All right, so let's get started and let's talk a little bit about ChatGPT. Once you have logged in, and of course the latest model is ChatGPT 5. So what we're looking at over here is you have different features over here when you get into the ChatGPT. Now the one I'm using is on the browser. So on the left hand side you can see your account. Let's have a look at some of the areas which are really important. So starting with general, which allows us to pick the theme, the colors, the language which you want to prefer. Okay, it has given you multiple languages. I've just chosen auto detect, spoken language, and any kind of voice that you would like to hear from your assistant. And of course, additional models if you want to show. I'll keep it like that. In the notification, you have push notifications, or you can also tick on the email notification if any of the tasks are updated or notified. Now here, I want to show you over here is these are the scheduled tasks which has been created by me using the agent mode. So what they do is you can actually set these particular scheduled tasks where it allows you to set some reminders on the regular basis. You can also pause, or you can delete. Going back into the personalization, you see there are heaps of information that allows your platform to get customized based on your requirements. So of course, if you click on enable customization, picking up the right personality while creating the content or responding to you, you can pick whichever you like. Depends on about your communication style, whether you want to go from casual to professional. The instructions over here, they're pretty much about the context and the role and the kind of style guide you can understand from here, what type of style guide, and also the type of tone and formality you would like to pick. Once again, it's more about the temperature setting and the penalty setting. About you, a bit about you, what type of nickname you want to pick, occupation if you want to pick. I'm just using my original. More about you, who you think, what you think about your personality, and if you would like to give some information. Memory, it's where you can actually manage your previous memories. So if you click over here, you see all the saved memories over here. You can delete them as well if you like. And of course, you can allow ChatGPT to save and use the previous memories. Once again, you can choose to, or you can restrict as well over here. Along with that, you'll also see a reference chat history. So it can actually either reference all the previous conversations or not, your choice. record history, and also advanced search. So how do you want your ChatGPT to search? Web, code, canvas, advanced voice. So you can pick whichever, or you can pick all, or you can actually pick one or two. The next section is connectors. So here you would find I have already got some of the connectors on how to connect these platforms. I would like to give you another separate tutorial on that, because it's a little bit extra steps that needs to be taken on the technical area, and it's not difficult. It's not you don't have to know coding about regarding that. So you don't have to be tech nerd to be able to connect that, but definitely it's some extra steps required, which I cannot include in today's masterclass session. So anyways, you can see a couple of apps already have been connected on my platform, including Zapier, which is a third party, but mainly, you can connect these connectors in order to do some workflow for you. In the schedules, once again, as I've shown you earlier, you can manage your previously created schedule. Either you can delete them, you can pause them, or you can restart them. So it depends on you what type of schedules. I'll show you in the demonstration today how to set these reminders as well, or daily task as a part of your workflow. Coming back here, other than connectors and schedules, in the data controls, of course, where you see improve the model for everyone, this is where you can actually restrict your data sharing, where you're actually not allowing your content to be used with the public or the developers of ChatGPT. Our data is being sent every day, or they have set schedule. You can actually click on learn more over here to read their privacy policy on how quickly, if we actually take it, if we turn it on, how often this information, if we are actually inserting, how often it's being shared. So it's good to read this particular policy. Now, when it comes down to sharing, I usually avoid that. So it's peace of mind that I'm not sharing every single thing. Okay, so I keep it off. Then comes the remote browser data. So all the session, if you want to, if you want ChatGPT to remember my history, then archive data. So anything that's been archived, you can check it over here. If you want to archive all the conversations, you can delete all the chats, and you can also export all the chat. Multi-factor authentication, so that no one should be able to manipulate your account details. Also, you can pick the trusted device on which it's used. You can also use log out of the devices. Parental control, where you can give access to your family member, and in the personal account you can see what plan you are at. Of course, you can upgrade or cancel subscription, what type of features are included in here, and of course, if you want to manage or delete your account, also with your account, what type of builder name you have, profile, and of course name of your account. From here you can actually connect your LinkedIn and other portfolios if you have online. So just for the demo purpose, I'm actually linking my LinkedIn, which is going to be giving more further information about myself to ChatGPT, about my personality, about my industry, about my career, about the personal information I may carry. If you're doing it, please remember you're doing it on your own risk. I'm not asking you to do it, but I'm just giving you a little bit of demo that how I can customize my GPT to know more about me and then act as my personal assistant based on my personality, my communication style. So going back on the main page, you can see on the left hand side you have multiple sections. So one of the section is on the top over here, where you can see new chats. You can search the different chats that you've already created. library of any information that you have, a little bit about codecs. Second section is about GPTs. So anyone who has created the GPTs, you can explore from here, or any other integration that is available with GPT, like Dolly and Canva, or any other one that you can actually find from here. You can also see AI Ops Mate. That's actually the agent which was created by me. Just below that, there is a project section where you can, if you have created any projects, that will appear over here. And then towards the end, we will find all the conversations, so which is actually at the moment empty because I have archived all the previous conversations. Okay, so let's see further, after picking the right setting, how we can actually work on creating the project. So to start with, I just want to give you a quick idea on what exactly are projects and how they are different to AI agents. So projects are similar to the workspaces, where you are actually uploading all the knowledge base and you retrieve that particular knowledge base for any kind of work. The only difference is when we have Google Drive or OneDrive, when we create folders for ourselves, when we need to create any project, or when we want to, for example, we want to create a report. So what we do is we collect the data. We go there and we collect the data from Google Drive if we are putting all our information, the data over there. And then we retrieve that information using the Excel or the Google Sheets. Using the data, we create the charts. We retrieve the information for creating reports. So we're doing everything manually up until now. Similarly, when we are creating projects over here, it's gonna use all the knowledge base that you are providing it to that particular workspace, what we are going to create, and it's going to use that knowledge base to follow our instructions that we are going to create, which is definitely the prompt, the master prompt we are going to create. And it will, every single time, if we are going to give any specific requirements, the prompt or any specific data, it's going to create the outcome or the content that we have asked it to. Okay, so for the example demonstration, I'm going to show you quickly. When you want to create a new project, of course you need to click on the new project. Now here it gives you option, right? So one of the things you need to always check is to either you can pick the icons from here, whichever, and you can actually pick some of the options. But for here, for the demo purpose, let's create a writing project and we'll create the reports. But before creating, always check the memory where you want your project to get the information from or access the information from. So it's always on the default mode where they ask that project can access memories from outside these chats, okay, and vice versa. So the information can be shared. If you don't want it to be shared and you just want to keep that particular project, saying that the project can only access its own memories and its memories hidden from outside chats. Okay, so we are creating a very secluded workspace where all the information will be within this particular box. That's one true. So for this report purpose, I'm going to pick the one which is exclusively secluded in this particular workspace, and then I hit the create project. Second important thing, there are two areas where we need to really work on by adding files. Now, adding files is the section where you're going to provide the knowledge base to this project, and then from the top right hand side we are going to add the instructions. So let's start with it. In here I have just created a sample report. Sample report is the structure. This is the structure I want for my report. And of course, the best idea is to at least upload 2 to 3 documentation, and you can keep on adding in future if you want to add some more kind of information or you want to give more knowledge base. You can keep on adding this information. It's not restricted. You can add as many files as you want. Okay, these are the sample and the examples you're giving your project to train the project. Now comes the instructions. Instructions are the right structure of the prompt that we want to give our project so that it performs the way we want it to perform. So remember, we were talking about creating reports. So we have given the sample, but we still haven't given the right prompts to our project. Okay, so up until now we have created a project. We have also given it a title. We have uploaded the resources. Now before we start the conversation, we need to make sure that we are providing the right information. So one we are working is on the reports, the example I'm going to use today, and also I'll be using the second example as image generation. So let's start focusing on the first example, right? So in the instructions area, we are going to put very, very specific and structured prompts. Remember, prompt is the most important thing in any kind of work that we are doing with AI. Whether it's training the model, whether it's creating a project, or in the conversation, it's not about the platform. It's about how we are instructing it. So no matter how advanced and the intelligent the platform is, if we are not asking the right questions, it's not going to give us the right answer. So in the instructions, we need to put very, very structured prompts. Remember, the prompt needs to have a specific role, the context, the structure, on what type of structure you want. It's report, so I have given the report instructions on what pages, what each page should include depending on the topic that I will be giving later. And of course the topics can vary, but over here the most important thing is we need to make sure that we use the right, we provide our project with the right information. I'm going to extract this information because this is the data I would like to use and the expected outcome. Okay, once you've done that, let's hit on save. So it saves the master prompt. So this is called master prompt because for every single project we will be creating one prompt. Remember, when you are creating project, one of the other important requirement is do not overload one project with multiple goals. So if you are creating one project for a report, keep it just one, keep that particular project just for report writing. If you want to create one other project for emails, create a separate project. If you really want consistency, if you really want a high quality outcome, this is how it should be. Okay. Once the instructions are saved, now it's time for us to practically see how our project is taking our instructions. So I'm going to paste the data, that sample data I've created for MasterClass, today's MasterClass, based on the available seats, how many seats were filled, how many attended the session, how many of the learners have partially attended the sessions, engagement span, interaction survey. So everything, I have just created a sample dummy data. And now let's see if I'll just put the data and I have just shared it with the project GPT, how it's going to work. Of course, it's taking time to think. And now, because in my master prompt, I have instructed my project to whatever data I'm going to give, you need to create a structured report with the specific structure over here. Okay. So once you have done that, I can see it has followed the structure. But I definitely just want to give the feedback. So heads up that, okay, you're doing the right thing, you're in the right direction. All I need is to get a downloaded version. So let's see how the downloaded version looks like. Okay, now, yeah, it has created a cover page with the author's name, date, and version, which was a part of my master prompt. And the font is Calibri. That's what I've asked for. Table of content, but the links seems to be non-functional. It has actually created the the information with the charts which I requested in my master prompt. So once again, as you can see, it's all about the correct prompts that we actually give to instruct our project. Okay, now I do have some issues. Of course, once again, it's in the right direction, but I still want this report to be better. So I have actually given instruction where I've asked it, the report misses the head and footer, and of course the table of content is not functional. Can you please fix that? Let's see if it has fixed. One of the good things about it, it has automatically changed the version. As you can see, it's version 2 now. And let's see, yes, the header has been updated. Footer has been updated. And also, now the table of content seems to be like functional. Fantastic. So at least my project is working. So all the things are working fine, and I can see I'm happy. So I'm just gonna give it a feedback. Yes, it's a good work. Okay. It's important to give feedback so that once again, once you receive the feedback, once even the project, when they receive the feedback, you can see that it gets trained better. Now, in here, if you can see, for each of the project work that you're going to create, it will pile up over here in the preview page, and also on the left hand side. So if you ever want to refer back to these projects, you can always refer back over here or in the preview page once you go inside. You do have different ways of using this particular projects you have created. You can either share, you can also move this particular project to any other area, to any other big projects or you have created, and also you can also remove from the writing report. So you are actually removing this from this particular report. You can archive or delete. When you delete any kind of conversation, whether from the reports or from the usual conversation, the memory doesn't get deleted, remember. So the memory stays because you have already trained the neural pathways, which is actually the brain of your project. So that particular these are short-term memories, right? We are training our project with, which will become long-term memories, but it's gonna keep on keeping all the instructions that you have provided and all the feedback that you have given. So it's gonna stay with it. Okay, so that's how the projects are created. Now we will do one more project so that we get a little bit of more understanding on how to create. So in this time, I'm gonna use to create one new project to create image. Let's do that. Okay. Now, in this particular project, I might actually use the default memory so that it can take the information from outside this particular chat and workspace. So similarly, I would like to add the files. I'm just adding for the demo purpose one sample image to give it a clarity on what type of image I would like: realistic, 3D, animated with specific resolution. And I have created I'm going to remove this example. I've created a master image design form with once again context and everything that I would like a picture to be, and have saved the instructions. So let's see if we actually give one specific topic, image, goal, the context, style, and output, what does it create? Okay, it's following the instructions which we have given in the master prompt, and it's working. So it has actually created one image over here. If let's say we want to change anything, on the right hand side, it has given us a kind of canvas selection where we can actually select a part of any image to replace it with something which we want. Definitely it's very blurry, and instead of that I would like to add thank you for your attention, for example. So it's good to say what needs to be done. This is very vague. So instead of that, if you want to keep it, replace it with thank you for attention, something like this, it will actually change it. Now you can make further adjustments. Of course, we in the chat today on the WhatsApp, we were discussing about how we can actually change the different and what are the different ways of changing the images, or using different versions of the image, or there are many different apps. But even in ChatGPT, they are advancing their image editing and image generation features, so you can see it's working well. Anyways, our projects are both successful, and I believe we have got a fair idea of how we can actually create projects and how we can use it. Remember, once again, these projects are secluded workspaces. Of course, they are actually sharing the data and the information. Whether you choose in the default, it can actually take the information from your other conversations, or you can keep it secluded using the closed conversations based on the knowledge base database you're providing and the instructions you're giving. However, they are doing an internal workflow for you. They are not linked with any additional tools or platforms like your Google Workspace or Google Drive at the moment. Okay, so it's only the downloaded file and the downloaded and uploaded information that you're providing. Let's talk about GPT agents and how you can build one for you. As a beginner, when we are going to create the GPT agent, it's going to take us a little bit of practice on how we can ask it to do the things for us, but it's definitely not difficult. Similar to Project Workspace says, what we have actually learned in the previous session. Yeah, it does require proper instruction, context, of course, the kind of style guide, what it needs to perform and how it needs to do. It's been a little bit deeper, and it needs to be connected to the additional tools to create the workflow for us. To start with, we need to remember, just like any other conversation, it requires a clear purpose and role. So clear instructions for its functions, boundaries, of course. It requires a knowledge base, just like the project. The external tools at this particular stage, the internal GPT agents, they are a little bit restricted to what tools it can be connected to, like Gmail, Google Drive, Google Calendar, and the Google Workspace at the moment. And of course, it can actually do some small tasks before actually we can go further. Developers mode, which I'm going to talk about soon after this, it's not yet available, because in the developers mode you can actually integrate a lot more applications than we can alone integrate with GPT agent. So let's have a look. What are some of the examples what are some of the powerful workflow examples that you can actually do with your GPT workflows, to be more specific? Yes, you can actually create a daily summary to scan your emails and provide the summaries of your emails. You can also scan emails, draft responses. You can manage your calendar by reading or creating some reminders for yourself. You can also allow agent to go and check your Google Drive and process some documentation or add some information. And also, of course, you can always ask GPT to transform your raw data into charts and readable insights using some specific documents, because at this particular stage you can only access Google Drive and Google documents like Google Sheet. You can ask it to do various things with that. So how we can create the GPT? To start with, you need to basically go in Explore GT section and then click on My GPT on the right hand side. Here you are giving an option to create the GPT. Now you will find two separate sections: create, where you can actually add the information, but to initially set up we need to go in the configure section. In here there are multiple sections we need to fill the information. So of course you can create one specific name for your GPT and add rest of the description. So in the description goes some specific information like what do you want your GPT to do. Okay, so I've just written a basic information like automate your day, schedule reminders, summarizes task and inbox, drafts, replies. So basically the examples which I've given. And based on that, the instructions. So in the instructions, I'm just giving it a little bit of context, who this particular agent is and what it should feel like. So the personality basically, what it should do when you're drafting email, what it needs to do when creating the content, style guide and the fonts and everything, the structure. Once again, a little bit really good details so that it actually acts upon it. Then comes the conversation starters. So these conversation starters, which I have added over here, you can also see in the preview section. So conversation starters, they are literally the quick starters. So if you want to, it's like the shortcuts, you can say. Okay, so some of the shortcuts which I really want in my GPT to be there, so I can go anytime and I can hit on that. And it can actually start that particular conversation. So that's what they are. In the knowledge base, you can see there is a section to upload files. Now here, the best thing is to give as much information as possible in terms of, once again, style guide, or in here I have all the information regarding for each of the goals that I have set for this agent. What should be the context like. I will be providing you this particular style guide along with the recording of today's session on the course forum, so don't worry about that. So you can use it as a sample, and of course it has the basic information as it needs to. You can upload as much information to give it a good understanding of what your requirements are. Not just one document, you can give multiple documents. Now if you want to choose any recommended model, you can. Otherwise, if you'll keep it as no recommended model, it will choose on its own. And it's good to click the code interpreter. Now here in the create new action, this is the place where you will be able to integrate Google workspace like Gmail, Google Calendar, and Google Drive. Right now, I'm not going to go into this particular section because once again, this is a separate tutorial and it requires a little bit of technical steps. So I'll be recording this particular section for later. But right now, we can still create the agent. There's no issue with that. In the additional settings, you can tick on your conversation with the GPT. So it says your conversation, use conversation in your GPT to improve our models. You can tick or you can untick. So if you tick it, of course, everything that you will be communicating with your GPT will be shared on the public platform, especially in the developers, with the developers of OpenAI. If you so keep it unticked, it's better to keep it unticked over here. Okay, I'll just untick it later. Here on the top, you can upload a photo to give it a personality, or you can just pick DALL-E to pick one generated icon, auto-generated icon for you, or the image for you. It's just, to give personality, nothing much. It's not going to make any difference. Now, once we have done that, let's go and create. Okay, in here, you can give any additional instructions that you have missed out in the original section in the configuration. So like behaviors or any kind of ethical restriction, confidentiality, communication style that you have missed in the previous one. Anything that you want to give over here, that can come over here. So I've given some extra additional information. If you don't want to, you have given all the instruction in the configuration, it's fine. But any other instruction, any additional information that can help GPT to function better. Once you've done that, you can see is everything fine, and click on create. This gives you three options. You know, either I can access, only me, I can see this GPT, anyone with the link, and also you can see in the GPT store. Okay, so whichever you pick, it's going to act on that. So I'm gonna just use anyone with the link as my ops mate, and I'll click on save. When you do that, you can actually share the link that is generated with anyone, and they can actually use this particular GPT, not from the back-end side, but from the front-end side. Okay, or just for the demo purpose. So you click on view GPT, it will appear on the left hand side under the explore, as you can see. Okay, now let's try some of the quick tips. So let's click on new, show new learning designer jobs in Brisbane, that I have actually included as one of my conversation starters. What it's doing, it's actually quickly going around checking any of the roles that's in there, and also it's showing on which sites these roles are being posted. So I can go over here and check out the roles. So every single day I can quickly go here and find out, or I can also create some schedules to do that. Okay, all I have to do is create a schedule. In order to create a new conversation, all you have to do is, once again, click on another quick starter. Now what you will notice as you are clicking on the new starters, it's also appearing in the conversation chats on the left hand side. Right now, because our email is not connected, it's actually not responding to what we have requested. All right, so let's have a look at different way of doing the things. So other than my GPT, which we have created, where we know there are some specific customized workflows we can actually create and we can get the information from, let's have also a look on how you can personalize the GPT by creating a developer's mode. Now developer's mode, just to give you a heads up, it's not yet available in the projects or the GPTs that we have already created. It's still available in the conversation mode, but it does have an advantage over other areas. One of the advantages, without even creating my GPT, we can still create some workflows, and by connecting multiple applications. So let's have a look. If you go in the settings area in the connectors, you can see, as I've told you earlier, I have multiple applications connected for today's session. How to connect them, I will be creating a separate tutorial to assist you with that, because that's, once again, it takes multiple steps. Let's suppose you have got connected your apps which you really are working on daily basis. I've also connected a third-party app, Zapier, which allows you to communicate better with these external tools. So instead of connecting these tools or these apps directly with GPT, we can use Zapier, and there are multiple platforms. If you remember in N8 and Agent MasterClass, we used Telegram, and we also used N8 itself to integrate our workspaces like Google and all. So what it does, these third-party apps, they communicate, they act as communicator, decoder to whatever information we encode, let's say whatever message ChatGPT acts as a sender, and these applications like Zapier, Notion, they act as decoder. They then send the message to our tools, whichever tools we asking the information from. They collect the information, they break it down, and then they send it back to the GPT. So they create a very smooth conversation flow. So that's one of the reasons. Once again, the walkthrough tutorial will be available for you on how to connect that. So in here, you will also be able to connect multiple connectors, and in the advanced setting, if you'll click, you'll find developers mode. all you have to do is connect the developer mode. So what it does, it allows you to add the connectors that could modify or erase data. So this is it might give you a little bit of security alert or risk alert. So use it to understand how the developer side works, even if you're not a coder. It does have an advantage, as I've told you earlier, and we will be able to see what can I do for you. So once it's on, basically you will see a orange ring along your search bar that actually shows the developer mode is on. In order to connect any application, all you have to do is click on connect, just giving you a quick demo, and continue. In here, Outlook, once again, mainly used by organizations, so you need approval to connect your personal or organizational email. It doesn't allow you. Here, I'm just showing you Zapier. In the Zapier, as you can see, I've already connected all the tools. So I don't have to basically connect all my emails or personal spaces here. So once we are in the developers mode, in the new conversation, all you have to do is click on the plus before typing anything. Let's click on plus, go in the more, and on the right hand side you can see developers mode. And once again, I'm going to use my Zapier instead of, so in the connection you can actually use that, which I'll be showing you when integrating with Zapier. But right now what I'm doing is I'm giving you a quick demo because I've integrated Zapier as my decoder, and I'm using my developers mode, which will act as an decoder, and I will receive the information by connected multiple tools, and it will act as it will create a workflow, basically, to keep it simple. Okay, so whatever instruction I will give over here without creating what do you call that, master prompts, or creating an agent or creating a project, it's gonna give me this particular output which I'm looking for. Okay, now if you want to, you can definitely create it as a permanent, but right now in the developer mode, one of the other thing that you will notice on the right hand side, can you see this barred circle? This also shows that whatever I'm communicating over here, it's in the temporary chat, so it's not gonna save the information until I really want to save it. Okay, so this is another way of keeping your information safe and secure, because temporarily it's going to register the information, and of course it also says memory is not used for this particular chat, so you can actually change the setting if you want to. But for now, for demonstration purpose, let's have a quick look at what we are doing. So because we know now through Zapier, my Gmail, my Google Calendar, and my Google Drive is all connected through this platform. So whatever instruction I'm going to give through developers mode, it is going to call or talk to my tools. If it is Gmail, it's going to talk to my Gmail, and it's going to do the thing what I'm asking it to. It is supposed to, okay, because that's why I have connected the tools. So what I'm asking is look at 2 most recent emails in my inbox, exclude promotion or social, and give me a tight summary with sender, subject, 1 sentence, just any dates or ask my suggested next step, output as 2 bullet points. Okay, and let's hit it. So what's going to happen, of course, now developer has sent this particular message to Zapier, and now Zapier is supposed to talk to my Gmail, and you can see it has called the tools. The tool over here is Gmail, and it has actually collected the information which I have requested it to. Amazing, isn't it? So the last 2 emails that I have actually got from of course a security alert, because I'm doing too much work, so my Google is on alert, on fire at the moment. Okay, so some newsletters and everything. Okay, so once I've done that, of course I can give some response, and let's look at something else. Once again, developers mode, in Zapier. So once again, it's in the temporary, so it's not going to save the settings. As you can remember, this is a temporary chat. It's not going to save any settings. So it's going to keep on doing the things until I change my memory settings over here. This time, let's have a look at my Google Drive, because we know that Google Drive is connected as well. List my Google Drive files for each for each name, type, owner, last modified, size, and share link, or return as tidy table. So let's have a look if it does that. And it's working. Developer has sent the request to Zapier. Okay, so it has occurred that there was some issue. So it says, I cannot list all you in a single sweep. I can only help you search or locate files based on the keywords from Google Drive using its export or reporting tools. Do you want me to show how to pull that list from Google Drive, or would you like me to search the drive for a particular set of files? It needs specific clear instructions. You can see the instructions are not so clear. Okay, so let's see. I've said okay, yes, to bring the list, pull the list of the Google files from the Google Drive. So it is actually now Zapier through developer mode through Zapier is called. Now, when you're using Zapier or any of the platforms, sometimes when they actually send the request to the tool, they usually, ask your confirmation. It's one secure step before actually allowing the application to access your internal workspace directly. So it's good that it's actually asking the confirmation. So what I did is I have confirmed. I haven't ticked remember it for the later conversations as well. Every single time I would like this tool to ask my permission. So it has now called Google Drive and have retrieved the information. As you can see, this particular Google Drive has a lot of untitled files and images and so on. So of course, once again, we can either take the information as it is, or I can simply ask it to a little bit do something else, tweak the information. So I've just taken one step ahead, sort this out in a table format for me, because right now it's just looking messy. And see if it does that for me. Okay, so we're still in the developers mode, and once again it's analyzing our instruction and doing some work at the background. So it has actually created a table with the name of the files and the type, and it has, if you expand the conversation, it opens up the canvas. So here you can give further instructions to do further work. So developer mode in GPT is essentially, it unlocks more technical options for you, and some of the benefits is it lets you experiment with prompts, also helps you test how GPT responds when different conditions and rules are set up for you. It's also helpful for building apps, integrations. You can actually check how the things are working. It makes it easier to catch errors or unexpected behaviors. It offers more flexibility with formatting. Also, if you're working with automation, like with GPTs and chatbots or tools where consistency matters, you can check it. And also it allows you to try variations quickly without going to a full GPT cycle. So it's actually a temporary phase, and I've already shown you over here. So it allows you to get better information over here. So in short, developer mode is not really about better answers or for normal use. It's about giving builders or testers more control how GPT works behind the scene, because this particular conversation, whatever you generate, doesn't get saved. Okay. Now, in terms of troubleshooting common issues, now we've seen how we have created the projects and GPTs, especially when we talk about GPTs and the connectors. They can actually go through some problems all the time. It's quite inevitable, because we are trying to connect two different platforms where APIs play a very important role. API and MCP tokens. API is pretty much, it's called application programming interface, where the software application is the software we are working. So it could be, once again, Google Tools or Zapier, as I've shown you today. The code or the instructions written. So program is the code or the instructions we are giving. And the interface, it's basically the two systems where we are actually sharing the data. So it can always face issues like connection problems, server issues, or not following or not being able to communicate. So it can give you vague responses. It can always have permission errors, authorization permissions. And that's one of the reasons why when the organizations, they install these AI systems, they have a full IT team either deployed internally or on the remote basis to keep on checking. It also, it also keeps the security within the organization, whether you're talking about intranet systems. And of course, now because AI is being integrated in all the softwares, including CRMs and the learning management systems as well, along with the websites. So we have to make sure that whatever information is being put inside these tools, they are being checked thoroughly, and the right information can be gone over here so that it doesn't breaches the privacy and confidentiality of the organization. So always, when you are sharing, once again, I want to give you a quick heads up on the security area. When you are learning these tools, always create dummy emails, as I've told you earlier. Always check with the organization what is allowed, what is not allowed. Check the admin restrictions, and always update sharing permissions if you're using it. Never share your account details, credit card information, or your personal information that is really sensitive, because once it's gone online, nothing remains personal. Okay, so also working with these tools, whether GPTs, projects, or anything, it's important for us to remember prompt is one of the most important and critical element. So always write clear instructions, write prompts, defining roles, tone, and specific requirements. Always break the large task into manageable pieces for better accuracy, whether it's GPTs or projects you are creating. Keep the minimum goals to focus on, especially in the projects. Only one purpose will do a fantastic job. If you will confuse the projects with 2 or 3 different goals, it can actually and it doesn't give you appropriate or consistent output or formats. It's good to remind ourselves on how we are responsible for AI safety as well. So in order to protect the sensitive data, remember never to input confidential or proprietary information into public AI models without explicit company approval. Always verify AI outputs. So in order to do that, always cross-reference critical information and facts generated by AI and reliable sources. Be aware that these models can reflect biases, of course, present in their training data, because not everyone stops training these models, right? So we have to be careful and what information we are generating. We cannot blindly generate the information and share it. Maintaining human oversight is always a top priority, should be a top priority. So AI should augment, not replace our judgment, especially in decision making processes. And always adhere to ethical guidelines and company policies when utilizing AI tools in your work, along with your work in your personal lives as well. Always restrict the entry of AI models, whether it's Siri, whether it's Google, or any AI interference. So basically, restrict all the AI interference into most critical and most sensitive information, whether it comes down to your financial information, or personal or health or family information. See, we have already all our information shared with government and financial institutions. So of course we are out of control. Not these information, financial informations, in terms of our health information or tax information, which has already been shared. We do not have control on how much we could share. But at least when we are testing these models for a learning purpose, we should be able to learn how to restrict the information sharing. But thank you very much for all your attention today, and I hope you have enjoyed and you have got a little bit of more insight on how you can use ChatGPT in different ways. And we will keep on catching up in different master classes which are coming up.